Hey, what's happening? This is Isai Rodriguez, host of the Dadsplanation podcast, where I cater to the professional working man, 40 and above, who's looking to make positive changes to his health, lose weight, and become stronger overall through simple lifestyle changes. I'm here to share inspiration, tips, and proven lessons that I've personally learned and lived through in my 40 plus years on this beautiful blue planet. So today we'll start the discussion off by talking about the topic of the only WHO-approved low-intensity exercises you actually need in our first segment. And then we'll move on to our second segment and talk about the 5 simple ways to burn off belly fat. So guys, you don't want to miss out on that. And before we get into that, if you'd like to continue the conversation, then get on over to podcast.dadsplanation.com/VIP to get on the VIP Insiders community, where I share more entertaining behind-the-scenes stories, tips, and hacks that'll keep you feeling younger each and every day. That's podcast.dadsplanation.com/VIP. Again, that's podcast.dadsplanation.com/VIP. Be in the know starting right now. Also, don't forget to rate me on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you're listening to this episode right now, and leave me a nice, fat, juicy 5-star review and some absolutely beautiful words of why you love the show so much. It really helps me get the word out, and it's honestly the one place where your vote truly matters. And now, let's move into our first segment with Healthy Conversations. So in this week's segment, this week's installment of Healthy Conversations, we're talking about the World Health Organization and how they updated, their physical activity guidelines for the first time in a decade. I don't know if you've heard about this. At some point, I believe late last year, they finally updated their guidelines. The first time in a decade. That's 10 freaking years. What were they waiting for? I don't know. But anyway, in the report, in these guidelines, they kind of highlight the only WHO-approved low intensity exercises that you need to incorporate in your day, or that you should. You know what I mean? We're talking about the bare minimum activity that you need to do, for it to be considered as, quote unquote, getting your workout into your day. So these days, it really seems like a lot of people are opting for that, small bite-sized workouts, sprinkled throughout the day. And, not sure if this would replace the go hard or go home style of exercises, but a lot of people are really enjoying these shorter bursts of exercise rather than the hour-long ones at the gym, these long, drawn-out, hour-long workouts. And this train of thought kind of goes right along with the World Health Organization's, it kind of confirmed what most people suspected, you know what I mean? They've actually put out, they put out their first physical activity guideline update in a decade, a few months back, and I think it was towards the end of 2020, November or December, something like that. But here's the thing. It might be time to prioritize the 10-minute dance videos and walks with your friends. These little activities, you might want to prioritize these into your day. Now, the WHO used to recommend at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity workouts like yoga, or 75 minutes of more vigorous intensity activities per week, like running. So 150 minutes or so per week of something like yoga, or a minimum of 75 minutes per week of, say, running or something like that. Some combination of low, or I should say moderate and vigorous intensity, as long as you're getting it in per week, you know what I mean? And now this updated version of their guidelines specifies that adults should have both the 150 to 300 minutes of the moderate intensity and also the 75 to 150 minutes of the vigorous intensity physical activity per week. So like they kind of upped their limits because they were saying originally one or the other, like at least have the 150 minutes of the moderate intensity or the 75 minutes of the vigorous intensity workouts per week. But now they kind of updated, they revamped it. They, I guess because we're living more of a sedentary life, like we're stuck at the computers all the time at work and at play and on our downtime, we're watching Netflix, we're binging on movies, we're on social media, like this, no doubt, this has to have played into their whole equation of, upping the guidelines, and when you first think about this, it might sound like more exercise overall, but the WHO's definition of quote unquote working out, like this definition is also expanded to include like the tiniest of movements, basically. So that's good news for your health, you know what I mean? It's almost like saying less is more. So anyway, having said that, I thought I'd leave you with 3 great exercises that you can include in your daily routine so that you can easily hit these new activity recommendations set forth by the WHO. And the first one, the first thing that I have here that I generally try to get into my day are like prioritizing these leisurely walks. Like why not start with the most basic? You know what I mean? You can really consider the 10-minute break between your 2 and 3 o'clock meetings as go time for a quick loop around the block. And to make every step count even more, just a little bit more, try hitting a hill somewhere or adding some ankle weights if you have them, So in between your 2 and 3 o'clock meetings, like if you're like me and you have, back-to-back meetings, 2, 3, 4, a lot of times you have these 10 to 15 minute breaks. If one meeting ends a little early, then take advantage of that. Take advantage of it and run out, go outdoors and, walk up and down a hill, add some ankle weights, get moving. The second thing that I have here, second tip or hack, if you will, is adding some balancing exercises or maybe yoga, so super simple to get this one into your day, especially again if you're like me and stuck in Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting. You can easily like what I've done, literally, I'm not kidding, like a couple of these meetings that I know like they don't really need my participation in them, you know what I mean? Like you can easily stand on one foot, like to challenge your balance and get the blood flowing a little, You can also run through the warrior poses, Again, I've literally done this before during long meetings when I don't have to present or talk or anything like that. And it really gets the blood flowing. So I'll start with like a warrior 1 position and then I'll hold that for a few seconds. Then I'll float into warrior 2 and hold that for a few minutes or seconds, And then I'll wrap up the movement with a reverse warrior and hold that for another 15 to 30 seconds. You know what I mean? And then I'll just cycle right back through them. I'll go from reverse warrior to warrior 2 and back to warrior 1. And I'll just keep that cycle going until my, 10 minutes are up or until the meeting is over, And if you really wanted to take it to the next level, me with the next level, I'm always trying to up it. I'm always trying to push the boundaries because that's where the most progress is made. That's when you get the most efficiency out of these workouts, So if you really wanted to take this to the next level, and only if you have wireless headphones, you know what I mean? Like I have to add that in there because if you have a set of wireless headphones, you can literally try going through a whole Ashtanga sun salutation routine. Now, if you're not familiar with this routine, I've shared great tips with my community with videos and tutorials and whatnot, but you can also go and Google the phrase Ashtanga, Ashtanga, sun salutation. And you'll find some really great tutorials online too, So definitely familiarize yourself. It's a set of movements that's geared towards getting your heart pumping, like really getting the energy flowing. So I really, I can never praise yoga enough. Like there's, I don't want to I don't want to keep going into that, but let's move it along here. Let's move it along. The third thing I have to meet the minimum requirements, if you will, for the WHO's daily recommendation or weekly recommendation is, functional strength training. So here's the thing with the strength training now, or I should say, the one thing that I noticed was that the new WHO guidelines emphasize functional strength training a lot, especially for older adults, maybe in their 50s and 60s. So that means strengthening the muscles during exercise that you'll need to perform everyday movements later on in life. That's right. So we're basically talking about squats, lunges, and other essential strength training moves. Think of them as an insurance plan for good health, basically. The more of them you do, the better your health will be overall. And these are just a sliver, a slice, just a tiny portion of all the different exercises you can fit into your day to fit these, to reach these new guideline recommendations. And we haven't even started to scratch the surface with all of them. Again, not to sound like a broken record, but I'm always sharing with my community new workout routines and exercises that I'm personally learning from different trainers as I'm learning them, So just another reason to be in the community and in the know so that you can take advantage of these bonus tricks and hacks that I generally dish out on a daily basis. And so with all that said and done, let's switch gears and move on to our second segment, Mighty Man. And in this segment of Mighty Man, we're talking about 5 simple ways of burning off that belly fat. So listen, guys, there's fat all over your body, not just between your ribcage and your waistband. The fatty tissue that lives under your skin is there for a purpose. It's a connective tissue called subcutaneous fat. And it sort of jiggles when you flick it or pinch it, But there's another kind of fat that's harder to notice unless you happen to be sporting the telltale protruding belly. And that fat tissue is called visceral fat because it forms around your gut, your innards, deep in the belly near your internal organs. And it doesn't jiggle, it's firm when you poke it. And listen to me closely when I say that men are much more prone than women to this depositing of fat in their abdominal area. So women tend to wear their extra deposits in their, in their butts, their hips, the thighs, in those areas. Those are the target areas for women. But for us men, this visceral fat depositing in our abdomen area, that's our biggest killer. And this visceral fat is the worst kind of fat because not only is it super hard to get rid of, but because it acts like a toxic waste dump, spewing out nasty, harmful chemicals and influential hormones right next to your most important and vital body parts, like your organs. And the release of chemicals increases the inflammation in your body and makes it hard for the insulin in your body to deal with the blood glucose from the foods that you eat. Now that being said, this puts you have to know that it kind of puts you at a greater risk for diabetes and heart disease. This is kind of common knowledge these days, But here's some other nasty facts about this type of fat. And it's that this visceral belly fat reduces your testosterone levels and damages the lining of your blood vessels. And so that compromises blood flow in your body. And you know how important both testosterone and blood flow are to maintaining a strong sex drive and firm erections, Do I have your attention now? Because this is serious, fellas. You may not think about this, but that's why I put this show together for you. These are the little tidbits that a lot of people aren't really talking about, But nonetheless, I bring this to you, Okay, so now that you've had your biology lesson, let's switch into health class because there's a lot you can learn to do to start destroying that dangerous belly fat and start sculpting your midsection, you know what I mean? But first, let's do a little motivational exercise, if you will, and work with me here, literally, like work through this with me if you can. So we're gonna grab a tape measure and we're gonna figure out your waist measurement and hear me out here. just hear me out. Like literally what you're gonna do is take your shirt off and relax. But take your shirt off and wrap the tape measure around your waist, slightly above your belly button and parallel to the floor, obviously. Now exhale and check the measurement, all right? So now, what does the measurement say? First of all, make sure the tape measure make sure it isn't too tight. Like the tape measure shouldn't be tight. And that's it. That's the exercise. I like to keep things simple here, But let me know what your measurements are right now so we can keep you accountable. Now, the benchmark for men, if you're not aware, is 40 inches. So if you measure more than 40 inches, then just know that you're at a greater risk for obesity-related diseases, according to the National Institutes of Health. In fact, there was a Mayo Clinic analysis, now that I'm thinking about it, of waist size that showed that men with a waist size of 43 inches had more than a 50% greater risk of death than did men with a 37-inch waist. Think about that. That's only a 6-inch difference between being in that 50% category, of that risk of death. You know what I mean? Like, is that something you're truly willing to live with? So anyway, I mean, if your own tape measure test just gave you a wake-up call, then I've got some action for you to take right now and start eliminating that dangerous visceral fat from your midsection. All right, so are you with me, guys? I mean, let's get right into it. The first action I have is to follow the leaders. Like, we've played follow the leaders as children, and it's kind of the same here. You can literally fire up your motivation and find some useful tips by reading weight loss success stories online, or find someone that inspires you and who's walked the walk before, someone who's been through what you're going through right now. Some of my favorite places to find inspiration are online are Reddit and Facebook. Like, those both great places to find like-minded people who are struggling or have struggled in the past just like you are. Reach out and connect. And then not only do you reach out and connect, but stay connected. That's key. And how about these tips from people on the National Weight Control Registry? Like, yeah, there is a registry where people for lack of better terms, register like their weight loss journeys. Like, they've surveyed these people that are registered on this registry, and they've come up with 4 tips that all of them had in common. So I mean, they must be doing something right? You know what I mean? So the 4 things that they all had in common was that 78% of them eat breakfast every day. 75% of them weigh themselves at least once a week. 62% of them watch less than 10 hours of television per week. That's definitely not Netflix binging or anything like that. Like, they're not Netflixing and chilling, none of that. They don't believe in that shit, you know what I mean? And the best one of all is this one, is that 90% of them exercise on average about 1 hour per day. That's 7 hours per week. That's way beyond what the WHO recommends, you know what I mean? And now these hacks are, they're coming straight from this National Weight Registry of people who have lost a significant amount of weight and kept it off for a long period of time. So clearly they're doing something right, So anyway, let's move on to the second thing. The second tip here that I have, the little hack, is pack on more muscle. Let's face it, muscle looks good under a tight t-shirt for sure. And it can also keep belly fat at bay. Like it can definitely, as we used to say, keep it in check, but this is the reason I love lifting weights. I want to build muscle that'll essentially eat up all that fat, so muscle plays a key role in taking up sugar from your bloodstream, burning calories, and increasing your metabolism. So the more you have of it, the more you'll be protected against insulin resistance and nasty shit like pre-diabetes. These are both strongly associated with this abdominal fat we're talking about here. So for example, a report in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, I had to write that one down and read it if you're watching the video. This report found that every increase in the ratio of what they call or refer to as a skeletal muscle mass to total body weight was associated with an 11% reduction in the risk of insulin resistance. How do you like that? That's why building and maintaining muscle becomes even more important as you age, because less muscle makes weight loss even more difficult and weight gain a lot easier. That's not what we want. We're looking for the opposite side of that. We're trying to stay lean and mean so we can dunk a basketball on our grandkids, sometime. And now we know that peak muscle mass is between the ages of 20 and 35, and people start losing muscle in their late 30s. But we also know that weight training and resistance exercise can have a huge effect on your quality of life and how successfully you age. You know what I mean? So listen up. There was a large study published in the journal Obesity that demonstrated the impact of weight training on your waist size over the course of more than a decade. And there's no surprises here. The researchers from the Harvard School of Public Health that published this journal, Obesity, found that people who spent 20 minutes a day weight training gained less abdominal fat over 12 years than people who spent the same amount of time every day performing cardio exercises. So for you out there that are wondering, should I lift weights or just do cardio? Well, that question is kind of loaded, because in the end, weight training is much better than cardio. However, good cardio health will certainly help you when lifting those weights. They kind of go hand in hand, so it's kind of a loaded question if you ask me. But again, at the end of the day, lifting weights over cardio, but cardio does help with the lifting weights. Not necessarily a chicken versus the egg type dilemma, because again, weights over cardio, but cardio gets that heart pumping, which gets you in good shape, which allows you to lift more weights in the long run, so do with that information as you will, but it is what it is. So anyway, moving on to the third hack is manage your cravings with protein. Well, we've discussed protein in the past, and you kind of know that, the whole giving into your cravings can easily pile on the pounds if you satisfy your hunger with calorie-dense processed snacks and chips and other baked goods and whatnot. But being strategic about your snacks and timing them out right can knock down those cravings and help you actually lose weight, And one of the best snacks for accomplishing this is protein, because it stimulates hormones that make you feel full and keeps you feeling fuller a lot longer. So when a high protein snack like yogurt is compared to an energy dense high fat snack of crackers and chocolate, it was found that people had less late afternoon cravings. So basically on days where they ate yogurt versus when they ate the chocolate and cracker snack, they found they didn't feel the need to snack later on in the day, like in the afternoon. And the high protein snack, again, the yogurt, led those people to eating around 100 fewer calories at dinner than they did after eating the high fat, high carb hard processed snacks. So these are the little things we need to keep in mind when we're looking to snack on something in the morning or afternoon. Keep that in mind when you're looking for something to snack on. Reach for something that's more protein based, like the yogurt or something to that effect. Moving on to the fourth thing, speed up to burn more fat. What the heck does this mean? You've probably heard this one before, but the question is, are you doing it? I'm talking about really pushing the limit of your cardio capacity by doing high intensity interval training, or HIIT as it's known in the gyms. And now, studies in the Journal of Strength Conditioning Research have shown that you can burn up to 30% more calories doing a speedy exercise session like, running sprints versus doing a lower intensity, steady state workout like walking or jogging. So essentially, 30 minutes of running or jump roping is far better than 30 minutes of walking or jogging. And I've mentioned this before, but since repetition is the key to learning, I think I'll just mention it again, is that HIIT is easy to incorporate into your weekly exercise routine. So for example, when running or cycling, just alternate short bursts of intense all-out effort for say, 20 to 30 seconds with slower and longer recovery segments of a minute or two. It's that easy. You'll find that your workouts will be they'll be shorter by necessity because you're going to be working so hard, The amount of effort, the intensity of the effort that you'll put into this, it's going to cause your workouts to be shorter, again, by necessity. And there have been some HIIT studies, like assessments, where researchers took MRI scans on people that participated in the study that showed significant visceral fat loss following HIIT workouts. This is where the conclusion comes from, that HIIT workouts are a time-efficient strategy to decrease fat or, weight loss, So, and the key here is not just any fat, but this nasty visceral fat that wraps your vital organs in nasty chemical spewing fatty tissue, So HIIT workouts, they've been scientifically proven through these MRI scans to help get rid of that nasty fat from your body. Ain't that some stuff? So moving on to the fifth hack we have is you should really practice diversity and inclusion in your gut. What the hell does that mean? Well, it's kind of known that you got tons of bacteria crawling around in your intestines already, but improving the diversity of that community of bugs in your gut is another powerful belly slimming strategy. A microbiome analysis has revealed a relationship between nutrition, the gut microbiota, and a number of human diseases, including obesity. And there's research suggesting that the composition of bacteria in the gut is totally different between lean people and those who carry a lot of abdominal fat. It also suggests that diets high in fat and refined carbs promote the growth of bacteria linked to obesity. So there's a specific strain of bacteria that's been linked to weight gain. How crazy is that? In fact, one study from the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science found a link between low bacterial diversity and significant amounts of body fat and inflammation. They discovered that obese people have more harmful gut microbes that promote fat storage and 90% fewer of a class of bacteria that breaks down starches and fiber for the for your body to use immediately as energy. So now the study went on to talk about how you can improve your ratio of fat burning to fat storing gut bugs just by eating more fiber rich plants. You can try fermented cabbage foods like sauerkraut and kimchi. Like, both of these are super sources of probiotics. And it's also been found that eating probiotics reduces both body weight and body mass index in overweight people. Another great way to build a more diverse environment in your gut, or a larger, happier family of good gut bacteria, is by eating a fiber-rich Mediterranean-style diet full of, vegetables and especially beans. One of the very best foods to build up the diversity in your gut and to promote that good gut health. Say that 3 times fast. But there's so many benefits to the Mediterranean diet, and your gut health is it's only one of those benefits. I personally like to build everything around the diet, including many of the supplements that I take. I make sure they all I really go I like to believe above and beyond to make sure that they all fit in well with my overall lifestyle and plan. Because it's critical. That's critical that all these moving parts, they all work together and create this synergistic balance and energy in your life. So anyway, with all that said, that's it, you guys. That's my show for today. I hope you found some valuable information here, and if nothing else, I hope I've entertained you for a few minutes and was able to bring you a little manly sunshine to your day. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to listen to me. It's very much appreciated. On next week's episode, we'll be talking about the 7 best home use blood pressure monitors, so you definitely don't want to miss out on that. And if you'd like to continue the conversation with me, then get on over to podcast.daspination.com/VIP to get on the VIP Insiders community, where I share even more raw behind the scenes stories, tips, and hacks that'll keep you feeling younger and younger each and every day. That's podcast.daspination.com/VIP. Again, that's podcast.daspination.com/VIP. Be in the know starting right now. Also, don't forget to rate me on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you're listening to this episode right now, and leave me a nice, fat, juicy 5-star review and some absolutely beautiful words of why you love the show so much. It really helps me get the word out, and it's honestly the one place where your vote truly matters. Until the next chat, take care now. Bye.